Imagine you are sitting at a poker table. There are 5 players, everyone has exactly 100 chips. The game is fair, the odds are equal, you feel good about your chances. But then the dealer reaches under the table. He pulls out a fresh box of 500 chips. He doesn't distribute them to everyone. He doesn't throw them in the middle. Instead, he slides the entire box to the player on his immediate left. Suddenly, that player starts betting wild amounts. He raises every hand. He bullies the table. He isn't playing better than you, he just has more ammunition. To stay in the hand, you have to bet your own limited stack. By the time the new chips finally make their way around the table to you, the stakes of the game have changed completely. The blinds are higher, the buy-ins are expensive. You have the same number of chips you started with, but now they are worth a fraction of what they were an hour ago. You haven't lost a single hand, yet you are losing the game. This is exactly what happens in the global economy every single day. We tend to think of inflation as a weather event, something that just happens to everyone equally, like rain. We think prices go up for everyone at the same time. But that is a myth, and it is a myth that hides a very sophisticated form of theft. To understand this, we have to look at how money enters the world. When a central bank or a government decides to print money, they don't hire a helicopter and drop cash over the city. If they did that, everyone's cash pile would grow instantly, prices would rise instantly, and nothing would really change. Instead, money enters the system like honey being poured into a saucer. It hits the middle first, in a thick clump, and then it slowly, sticky-like, spreads outward to the edges. This delay, the time it takes for the honey to spread, is where the robbery happens. Let's trace the path of a newly printed dollar. It starts at the source. Usually the government or the central bank creates it to bail out a bank, buy bonds, or fund a massive project. The first person to touch this new money is the insider. Let's call him the first receiver. The first receiver gets the money while the ink is still wet. But here's the critical part. The rest of the world doesn't know this money exists yet. The prices at the store, the price of houses, and the price of stocks are still set based on the old amount of money. So the first receiver goes shopping. He uses this new free cash to buy up assets. He buys stocks, he buys real estate, he buys companies. He is buying valuable things at yesterday's prices with tomorrow's money. He is getting a discount that no one else can see. As he spends, that new money moves to the next person. Maybe it's the luxury car dealer or the high-end contractor. This is the second receiver. The second receiver sees business booming. He thinks, wow, demand is up. So he raises his prices slightly. He takes his new profits and spends them. The money moves further out. It flows to suppliers, to factories, to service workers. But as the money travels, something happens. Everywhere it lands, it pushes prices up. The honey is spreading. Finally, at the very end of the line, the money reaches you. You are the wage earner, the pensioner, the saver. You are the last receiver. By the time the new money ripples down to your paycheck, if it ever does, the damage is already done. You walk into the grocery store and the prices have already doubled. The housing market has already skyrocketed because the first receiver bought all the inventory 2 years ago. You look at your bank account. You have the same amount of dollars. But those dollars are now competing against the mountain of new cash that the insiders spent months ago. This is the invisible transfer. It wasn't that prices just went up, it's that value was siphoned off. Think of the economy as a swimming pool. If you take a bucket of water from the deep end and pour it into the shallow end, the water level eventually rises everywhere. But for a few moments, the water is higher where you poured it. The people standing near the hose get to ride the wave. The people on the other side of the pool just find themselves drowning a little bit faster. This dynamic creates a permanent gap in society. It explains why, during times of high inflation, the stock market often hits record highs while regular people struggle to buy eggs. The assets owned by the wealthy, the stocks, the real estate, the art are the first things to absorb that new money. Their net worth balloons on paper. They feel richer. They spend more. Meanwhile, your wages are sticky. Your boss doesn't give you a raise the second the money printer turns on. You have to wait. You have to negotiate. You have to strike. You are always chasing the rising prices, but you are always a few steps behind. This mechanism silently punishes anyone who saves in cash. If you worked hard 10 years ago and put money in a jar, you are effectively paying for the spending of the people who got the new money first. Your labor was stored in that cash, and the system siphoned a percentage of that labor away to fund the first receivers. It is a tax that is never voted on. It is a redistribution of wealth that never appears on a ballot. It turns the economy into a hierarchy. It's not about how hard you work or how much value you create. It becomes a game of proximity. How close are you to the spigot? How close are you to the source of the money? If you are standing next to the printer, you are a master of the universe. If you are standing far away, waiting for the trickle-down, you are the victim. So as you watch the prices on the shelf tick upward, don't just blame the supply chain or the shop owner. Look at the invisible line connecting your wallet to the source of the money. And ask yourself, in a system where money flows like honey, how long are you willing to wait for your share to arrive?